Welcome, PPL fans, to the Division 2 transfer analysis for the first window of this season. I am joined by, I don't know, what do I call you, Adam?
Anything, no, just, you can call me Adam. I don't know.
I was just gonna go straight to Adam, and I didn't know whether to introduce you with like TNA TV1 or what.
Yeah, super successful, frequently updated channel. TNA TV1.
Go check me out. Go check me out. I upload twice a day. So you know, I
mean
got
like twice a year.
If you meet his like goals.
Yes, yeah, you gotta meet my extravagantly high like goals for me.
Yeah. He's still waiting on that 5 million likes for the last video before he can upload it.
Damn.
It's true.
And
you can call Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a new name.
What is your new name?
No, I don't have. I do have a new name, but I'm not carrying it over from the last video because it's terrible.
Oh god. So yeah, these guys know their stuff. They're gonna help me talk about what went well, what went poorly, and how the transfers, affect these teams.
Dogs have strong opinions about draft.
They do.
And we'll hear about that throughout the video.
They're also very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start from the bottom of the transfer history list with the Glass City Gliscors, coached by Ruby Merrill. He ended up dropping Latios, Megabedro, Regigigas, Sharpedo, and Torkoal, and picked up Mamoswine and Megazord X. Alright, I have mixed feelings about this, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, and I feel like he could have planned this a little bit better just so he could keep Latios, simply because Latios is one of the best forms of hazard removal and one of the best specially offensive options in the draft format.
Right, so the thing is, you don't want to have to run Defog on Latios. Like, you don't want to be living in that world where that's your only hazard removal. But if you do live in that world, it's way better than living in the world where Flygon is your only hazard removal.
I definitely agree. Because not only did he not drop something like Talonflame that's super weak to rocks, that could have gave him a couple points to get what he wanted.
He drafted another thing that's
I mean, I do like that he got rid of Megabedro, because I don't really like Megabedro. I like that he got rid of Regigigas. He probably could have kept Sharpedo, in my opinion. I think that's...
I agree with that. I think he could have dropped Greydilly before Sharpedo. I understand, like, point conversion and stuff like that, you know? Like, maybe he needed the extra points, but again, I don't think they were spent wisely. Like, I don't think Zard X and Mamoswine are the two things that bring this new version of the team together.
Like, I think if you look at it as... he's got plenty of sweeping options on his team. Like, had he kept Latios... No.
That's most of his team.
No.
That's most of his... Like, that was pretty much all of his team besides the last, like, 4 deadweight low-value picks were sweeping options.
Well, I mean, like
that was his team. His team was the sweeping options team.
Look, had he kept... so, drop Talonflame, keep Latios, maybe keep Sharpedo if he had the points for it. You're looking at a team that not only has offensive presence, but you can run defensive Megazord X, and it does really, really well.
It does, but it's still not a great switch-in. And that's kind of this team's problem.
It just doesn't have switch-ins to stuff.
Like, yeah, your switch-ins are Granbull and Cradley.
I mean, like...
I mean,
if that suits the way you... Like,
they do switch into things.
We were talking about this before we started recording, and we commented that Ruby's actually been playing very, very well with what a lot of people regard as one of the worst drafts in the entire PPL, and a lot of people think that's just because he doesn't have switch into stuff, but he's won one game, lost another one due to a slight misplay in the end game of another, and he knows his stuff, and if he feels comfortable with this style of play, then maybe it's working for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I just think I think there's some problems with it. Like you definitely can make overwhelming offensive presence work. In that case, I actually, and I think you two disagree with me on this, but I actually prefer Mega Beedrill to Zard X for that, just because I think Mega Beedrill is way easier to use, and it's way easier to use effectively. Like, Zard X, you really have to consider which variant you're going to bring and which variant the other guy expects you to bring. And generally, for it to succeed, you kind of need to hit that 2 Dragon Dance mark.
Yeah.
Whereas Mega Beedrill, it just means decide what you want your 1 coverage move to be, run protect, and then click U-turn all game.
Or you could be a man and just run SD on the predicted switch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a man, but most people aren't.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Fellstinger, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, if you're a lord, you run Fellstinger. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, I again, we were talking about this before, and Adam was like, you just don't like Charizard X, and I was like, no, I do like Charizard X. I just think it's really difficult to effectively use.
Yeah.
I think it's very scary when you're planning against it, but once it actually hits the field, it's almost universally underwhelming, especially for its point cost.
Yeah, 18 points for Megazord X, that is not... It's honestly shocking. Like, if Megazord Y should be fairly expensive simply because it's got decent bulk.
It's a nuke.
Yeah.
It's a point-click nuke.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, it requires a lot of planning, and there are some teams where it just simply will not work.
Yep.
And having something that just won't work versus certain teams is not worth 18 mil.
Yeah. I think Mamoswine's really good. Mamoswine's one of the best things in the format. Like,
Yeah.
just off of ice and ground stab coverage alone, there are so many drafts across so many leagues where I look at a team and I can go, Mamoswine sweeps that team.
Mm-hmm.
Just off of those 2 stabs alone. But again, at the expense of all of the stuff he gave up, I'm a little
Yeah.
I think I would have liked to have seen him at least keep Latios instead. Like, maybe just run Megalith. Like,
Yeah.
give up Beedrill and the rest of the crew and keep Latios and Mamoswine. And
Like,
pick up Mamoswine.
If he dropped Talonflame as well as the rest of the stuff and kept Latios and Mega Beedrill, like he dropped Regigigas, Sharpedo,
Drop
Torkoal.
Flygon. For the love of God. Drop Flygon.
I was gonna say it would have been nice to keep Latios, trade Talonflame for Latios, and trade Flygon for Sharpedo, and go about maybe do something different than Charizard X, or keep going with Charizard X. But
Like if
I mean,
like Keldeo, Mega Beedrill, Latios, Mamoswine, Jolteon, Gramble, Sharpedo, Torkoal, Cradily. That would be what we're talking about right now. It's,
I mean, Torkoal's still kind of dead weight. You can still drop that.
Yeah, like I think
there were better combinations for this. I like that Ruby made moves. I think moves needed to be made for future consistency's sake.
Yeah.
I don't agree with all of the moves. I just don't agree with the acquisitions, like, and the dropping of Latios. That's just, if nothing else, the fact that he dropped Latios for other people to considerably pick up in the future is mind-blowing. I would keep that thing on my bench just so I don't have to play against it.
Well, it could be that he's picking up Zard X as some sort of like bulky defogger.
Does it get defog?
Yeah, it does.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea.
No.
Don't do that. Don't do that
Why?
idea.
No. Why is it a bad idea?
I mean, it gets roost.
It has reliable recovery. It's got, what is it? 70,
It's
111,
still quad
85. It's not quad weak. Hello?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, like,
is
when it
before
first
you
comes
mega.
in, yeah. But, like, you
Yeah.
can tank one hit.
Okay, so you're just gonna lead defog Zard X every week.
Hell yeah, I am. That's what good
Ethan,
players do.
That's why you were next to last season.
I was last season. Excuse you.
There you go.
And you want to know who's undefeated right now? Me.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways,
Well,
so overall, what do we think of this? I mean, because it's really hard to kind of judge it overall because it's such a different team now. I mean,
it's basically a reset. It's as close to a reset as you can get with the PPL limitations.
Yes. Could have it been structured in a better way to keep certain things that are more valuable than others? Yeah, but from the way that Ruby's been playing with this team and considering how well he's been doing with this team, I don't think we have the right to say whether or not it's good or bad as of right now.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I would say this doesn't inherently make the team better.
But it definitely does not make it worse.
Contextually, he has a lot of potential to prove that it works for his style.
Yeah. Shout out to dogs.
Yeah. God, he loves this one squeaky ball. And he only loves it after, like, recording time.
Alright, moving on. Carter of the Chicago Cub Chews did not pick up anything, so skipping over Carter, we're moving on to Under the Radar of the Maryland Torterrapins. He ended up dropping Mew and Magneton and picked up Mega Houndoom and Garbodor. I know, Chris, you're probably gonna like the fact that he dropped Mew.
I do. I like it for a couple of reasons. Not just because I think Mew's overrated, but because it was a little bit redundant. Like with Jirachi, again, like the two psychic thing was a bit of an issue for him.
Yeah.
He wasn't running, like his team doesn't really want to take a knockoff besides Virizion, which is, again, you're usually going to run special, so even then it's not going to benefit from the justified boost. Yeah. So I was just like, Mew and Jirachi together, base 100s are always objectively good, but there are certain ones in tandem that aren't going to give you a benefit.
Yeah.
And those are kind of two of them. I do think it's unfortunate that he drafted it early, didn't get much use out of it, and is then having to drop it and lose money. But I do think it's better than just keeping it on the bench for its value. Optimally, I would have liked to have seen him sucker somebody into a trade for it. I think that would have been a better move. But I do think getting rid of Mew was the right move. Either Mew or Jirachi, either one of them.
I actually like that he kept Jirachi. What I don't like, picking up Mega Houndoom added a whole lot of offensive presence to like what was the standard bulky offense team. Like you had Walls for Days and like Melodic, Gudra, Clefable. Like Gudra is, I don't know if I would designate that as a wall. It's more like a sponge that could hit things relatively hard with coverage moves. Clefable could be a win condition depending on the team. Jirachi could be a wall, but more it's flinch machine plus U-turn. Sandslash, kind of always a wall unless you have sand on your team. Crobat can be offensive, more often than not defensive. He had Magneton. I kind of wish that he kept Magneton. I'm not sure.
I agree with that.
I'm not sure how I feel about Garbodor. Like, I guess it added spikes and toxic spikes to his team, which means that Spike Stack is now a viable option for him. But
and it does also help with countering setup stuff because it does get like Haze and a couple of other tricks.
Yeah, and then you can run Aftermath plus Rocky Helmet, and that's just going to do a hell of a lot of damage to any
but he also has like Milotic for Haze, so again, kind of
Like, Mega Houndoom was probably something that should have always been on the squad over Mew. And then I think he just messed up with dropping Magneton.
See, that's the only point that I disagree with you on. Like, I really like the Mega Houndoom from you, like you guys said. But I really like what Garbodor brings because of the spikes and T-spikes. I mean, you have Gudra, Clefable, and Melodic all together, and then you throw potentially the option for toxic spikes that you have to deal with. That's going to be a pain in the butt. That's going to be huge. If you can just sit there and just recover up with Melodic, soft boil with Clefable while they die to toxic.
This is true.
Pretty crazy. I like that one a lot. It does kind of mean that if he wants to run Garbodor, then he almost has to bring either Sand Slash or just not worry about hazard control at all. But I still really like Garbodor. I was sad when it was dropped in D1. So I'd like to see it actually do something.
I mean,
and I will say, like, I actually think maybe I would have liked to have seen the point spread go differently. I think maybe he could have just saved the points and gone regular Houndoom and spent more money on something that T-Spike's better.
well, that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to go through here. I'm trying to go through the D2 teams and see like what other Toxic Spikers there are. Like, I know Roserade was picked up. Dragalge was picked up. I'm pretty sure Tentacruel was picked up somewhere.
I'm not seeing it, but again, like
even then with Melodic, I don't really know if you want to run that. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. What else gets Toxic Spikes? You got.
I mean, there's some weird stuff that gets Toxic Spike.
You got
grab
Pythagoras. You got Crustle. Fortress gets it. Frogadier. You could have picked up a Frogadier.
Yeah, there you go.
Weezing, Nidoking and Queen, Omastar, maybe? Quillfish, Roserade gone, obviously. That's pretty much it. There's not many Toxic Spike users, and Cloyster, you could have picked up a Cloyster. Cool.
So, one thing that does get Toxic Spikes that's actually good, that I think might have actually helped out his team, would be Venomoth. Like, I think he could have saved the money, gone regular Houndoom, and gotten Venomoth. It gives him another special setup sweeper, some offense, gives him Toxic Spikes, gives him a couple of good abilities, some instant recovery, and some good options.
I don't mind Venomoth. I drafted it. Well, not drafted. I free agent traded for it, and I like it. But at the expense of Mega Houndoom and Garbodor, I don't know if that's, for me personally, I don't know if that's worth it. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, the thing is, like, what does Mega Houndoom really super bring to the table that regular Houndoom isn't? Besides, like, an extra 100 BST.
It brings another fast option that doesn't need to be Scarfed. It brings an instant sweeper. Like, it has Nasty Plot, and that honestly just guarantees wins once things are below X%.
It's not an instant sweeper, though. It's still you have to get your Mega off sweeper.
I mean, it's... I don't know, hold on. Now, let's look at Mega Houndoom. How bulky is Mega Houndoom?
I think it only gets like 20 in each stat or something like that. I think it goes from like base 45 physical defense to like base 65 physical defense.
Yeah, yes.
Most of its stats are offensive.
Yeah, so it goes from 75, 90, 50, 110, 80, 95 to 75, 90, 90, 140, 90, 115. So it gets defense and attack all the same. It gets fast and it gets strong with the option of having Sucker Punch, relatively good coverage moves. It gets Sludge Bomb. Obviously it gets access to the hit powers.
I think the Flash Fire immunity is better than the Solar Power boost in League format.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't really care about Flash Fire. Like, he doesn't. What cares about fire moves on his team outside of Jirachi and what was Magneton? Oh, he's got Virizion.
I mean, no, you're not wrong about that, but like immunities are still better than resisted hits objectively. Like,
yeah, I agree. I don't know. I like it. I think that his team now, I think, has more defensive stall options with Garbodor on there to get spikes and T-spikes up, and now has a better offensive option than trying to run offensive Mew potentially on his team. Or like,
I mean, base 100 unstab coverage is only going to get you so far, even with a Swords Dance or Nasty Plot.
Yeah, so
I think dropping one of the Psychic base 100s was a good idea. I think he could have dropped Jirachi, saved a couple of points, and gone regular Houndoom, and still accomplished a lot of the same things, though. But overall, I objectively think it was an improvement either way. I just think there was room for more improvement.
Yeah, the only other thing he could have done was try and sucker somebody into Mew and get stuff, like we had talked a little bit earlier about.
Obviously, he should have tried to trade with Carter for Roserade, because Carter definitely needs a Mew.
Oh yeah, totally. All right, so I think we can all agree that his team definitely got better. Maybe he could have gotten a little bit more, but I like it. I like it
It's
a lot.
not bad. It's not bad at all. Alright. Baby Chris didn't actually drop anything or pick anything up. He just made a trade with Chaos in the Sky of the Boston Brilliums to get Sneasel for Drapion.
My two favorite pokes traded. If only someone worked an Empoleon into this to make it a triple trade. It would be.
And Florges.
Yeah, and Florges for quad trade madness.
Wait, you don't like Florges?
It's not bad, I just don't like it, which is kind of the same camp I'm in with Sneasel.
Yeah.
As he moved himself so there's no dog.
Yeah.
I don't mind this. I had talked to Baby Chris, obviously because we record with him, and his thought process was that Sneasel with the ice priority helps him out a lot more for the upcoming matches that he has left, as opposed to Drapion, which doesn't really do anything anymore for him. He really needed it for the first couple battles that he had. And that was the only reason why he really needed it. So if he was able to get something out of trading Drapion to help him later on, then all for it. Sneasel's not really my favorite thing in the league, but you know what? It seems to keep coming up, so it's got
the only thing that changed that kind of affects that is that Ruby obviously traded a bunch of stuff, which kind of makes him a little bit more toxic spikes bait than he was before. So Drapion would probably be useful that 1 week, but for the most part, objectively, like, Baby Chris is right. Like, Drapion's kind of done for him.
Yeah, I mean, like, even with Ruby Marrow, like, Baby Chris has a lot of options against Ruby's team, so Toxic Spikes isn't going to be... not having Toxic Spikes isn't going to be the end of the world. It just would have been nice.
It very well may not have even been worth it in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good trade on his part. It was fine.
Yeah, I think it was a fairly decent trade for both teams, simply because Chaos benefits from having chip damage on stuff, especially when he has things like Victini and Tyrantrum sitting around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it really changed much of the landscape of his team to say, oh my god, it's such an improvement, but it's something. He dropped off dead weight for something that could potentially help him in the future. So.
Yep. Good trades. Alright, Juan, Amityville Haunters, he likes Rapid Spin.
He's doing the hazard removal sampler platter. where like literally all season he's just gonna try every hazard removal he can get.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I don't know.
I'm still trying to recover. Hold on.
I think it's good, because Claydol is shite.
Yes.
At least with our Armaldo, you can, like, I don't know, manual rain, swift swim, sweep.
I mean, if I remember correctly, he actually has a team that could work in the rain. He's got Raikou and Torn T. Chestnut doesn't mind being in the rain. Gastronaut doesn't mind being in the rain. You can even run Volcarona with Hurricane in the rain. So
that's true.
He could actually, at some point, bring a rain team that could work together.
Exactly.
So that's something.
And the rain would even not hurt Avalugg because it would reduce fire damage.
Right.
That being said, Avalugg itself isn't actually all that bad either. I mean, the only thing that's really holding it back from being top tier league material is the fact that it's fucking ice type.
Yeah, defensive ice types are just the worst.
It's so
defensive
good,
ice
though.
type that's also a rapid spinner.
It's
like,
so good. It has the potential to be so amazing, and then it just got shafted by just being only ice type.
If it got like camouflage or something, it'd be great.
Or like a fucking even like thick fat, or maybe a dual typing that made it less shit. I don't know. Fucking.
Nah, most dual typings just make ice worse.
I mean,
I can't really think of
ice ground isn't terrible.
Yeah, that's the only only type that helps you out.
And even then, you really do need the thick fat to make it like consistently work. Ice Ghost helps because it makes you fighting immune, but it's still not great.
Yeah. That being said,
But
prior to this, he was actually planning to pick up Avalugg and not Mega Mawile, just regular Mawile. Just because he needed a little bit more bulk, and Claydol wasn't actually doing all that much for the team. He just kind of jumped the gun a little bit.
I mean, Claydol's bad, so yeah.
And basically anything else is a improvement at this point.
I still don't really understand how he got Armaldo out of. That's the only thing that's confusing to me about this.
That is the most bizarre, like, autocorrect mistake ever.
He's very eager. Juan is very eager, and I guess
Fair
that's
enough.
all that could be really said about that. I guess the basic thing this is, Mawile would have been okay, but we can accept Armaldo and Avalugg, but not
I think-
together.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both a little bit of a bummer to have on the same team, but again, I think getting rid of Claydol is fine. I think you can get, even with its problems, I think you can get more use out of Avalugg than you would get out of Claydol. So I'm fine with it. I think it's a slight improvement. It could have been a much better improvement, but I think he gained a little bit of ground here.
Yeah.
The only thing that concerns me is these two that he picked up for rapid spinning are both also weak to rocks.
Yeah.
Although obviously Avalugg has godly defense and has recover, so that's always nice to have. But that is kind of something you got to deal with.
And he's got Defog's gun tank, so he's like, whatever.
Yeah. Alright, let's hop over to Chaos in the Sky and the Boston Brelums. He ended up just picking up Dusknoir after making his trade with Monotui. Dusknoir, thoughts?
It's not amazing. It's got bulk. It's got inconsistent recovery options.
Pain
Which
split.
there's worse things. Yeah. It's decent in that it's going to give him like fighting immunities, which will help Aggron, Tyrantrum, even Drapion and Ambipom, but he kind of already had, like Gardevoir, bulky Victini and things like that to resist the fighting anyways. I think a more important thing here is that kind of like, I said it before, Ambipom and Sneasel together were redundant.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, if the only thing you can do is trade Sneasel because no one wants Ambipom for whatever reason, that's fine. But I feel like there could have been something else that could have been done to, like, get some more points somewhere and make a better acquisition. It's not bad, but I think it's just going to keep a deep roster of things that aren't going to see a lot of use.
Yeah, I agree. Basically, at this point in time, Chaos is kind of got middling speed. So whenever he needs to outspeed something, he's going to have to stick a scarf on something. That's actually pretty easy to prepare for.
Rock polish Tyrantrum.
That's a thing.
It is, yeah. Like, I mean,
it's a thing, but
And Scarf Gardevoir is actually really pretty dangerous.
yeah.
It's nice.
And Ambipom is not slow.
No, yeah.
well, I mean, like
Not
that's the fastest thing on his team, and it's not like you're gonna run like Scarf Ambipom because Ambipom's not
You
the
got Fake
hardest
Out.
hitter around. Scarf
got
Fake Out, best combination.
not Scarf Fake Out. I'm saying you don't run the Scarf because you have Fake Out. Banded Fake Out.
There we go.
Duh.
That being said, Dusknoir offers spin blocking capabilities as well as its own form of priority in Shadow Sneak.
Yeah.
Good bulk. It's
It's Sucker Punch.
It does in fact get Sucker Punch. Stats aren't actually too bad when you look at them. Low HP and low speed is kind of aggravating, but overall it's not a bad mon. I don't know when he's actually gonna use it.
Yeah, I think I really like Dusknoir. I think it has a lot of tools. It's got all the elemental punches, focus punches for unprotected focus punches on people's switches.
Yes.
Things like skill swap and trick and memento and things like that can potentially set up another teammate like a rock polishing Tyrantrum. So I think it's really good, but that's a very good point. I don't know when he thinks to himself, all right, I'm definitely going to bring Dusknoir this time, because he has a whole bunch of like Donphan. You're going to need to bring that for hazard control, and that's a physical wall. Unless you're going to go full bulk and bring like Mega Aggron, Donphan, Drapion, Dusknoir.
Shaman.
I don't know.
Rotom.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go full bulk, I don't think Dusknoir is necessarily in the top 6 on his team. Like, I think, you know.
I mean, let's see. You got Shaman, Rotom Wash, Donphan.
You can run bulky Victini with Will-O-Wisp.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that?
I mean, Victini, Shaman, Rotom Wash, and run bulky Gardevoir with Wish, Donphan, Mega Aggron, Drapion. All of those, I would say, maybe with the exception of Drapion, like that might be the one thing that's not better than Dusknoir. But even then, it can have a niche depending on.
I mean, yeah,
what,
it
you know,
has a
what
very deep move pool, and whether or not Chaos is actually going to be able to tap into that remains to be seen, but for now it's definitely not a bad pickup, but it's nothing amazing as of yet.
I just think on a deeper roster, it's going to be hard to find times to use it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the pairing of Dusknoir, Mega Aggron, and Rotom Wash for a wall core is actually pretty dangerous, pretty potent.
Well,
personally, for me.
I mean, like, yeah, it's a good core, but you're running 3 things that don't have amazing recovery. Like, Pain Split is pretty good. Like, I personally like Pain Split. I feel like it's actually really good when paired with Leftovers Recovery, but I'm more worried about constantly switching in and taking rocks damage, taking random chip moves, and so on and so forth. It's very easy to whittle down that kind of core. Unless you're going to be the guy who specifically runs no leftovers, Destiny Bond Dusknoir to like pick up a spook kill somewhere or something. I don't know.
Just run rest talk on everything. Rest on every single wall that you have and just sleep talk the entire time.
I mean,
he could.
It
like,
could work.
He does have
it actually could
he
work.
He could run Heal Bell Gardevoir. Just like bring everything in incrementally, run 5 rest sets, and then switching Gardevoir with like Scarf Heal Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that. That's about as good as, banded fake out Ambipom.
Excellent.
Actually, you run Sash Gardevoir, you let it get the Heal Bell off, go down to Sash, then later on you bring it back in and Healing Wish something.
You could do that. You could do that as well.
You would essentially be getting 11 Mons for the price of 6. Think about the savings.
Excellent.
No one run that. No one run that set.
How to win leagues 101 with Chris.
Starring Chris.
It's all about economy. It's all about economy, guys.
I don't know. I personally, I really like the pickup of Dusknoir, but I can see how you guys maybe think that it might not.
I don't, like I said, I don't think it's bad. I think it's going to be difficult to implement.
Yeah, I mean, it just needs to be proven. Like, if he can find a week where it'll just shine, perfect. It's a good pickup just because of that. Because it's not like picking up an Excadrill and then just having it sit around and do nothing because you wasted 15 points on that. This was a 2-point pickup. If it performs really, really well 1 or 2 weeks, then that's perfect. That's all you needed it to do. But again, we just need to see it do stuff.
Yeah, do stuff.
Do stuff. Yes.
All right, what's the next doing stuff?
The last one.
The last one is Travesty of the North Melbourne Kangaskhan's. He dropped Kadabra, Gogoat, and Toxicroak for Celebi. I like this, but I also don't like it. I don't know. I have mixed feelings, because I can see that Travesty is trying to get some sort of really solid core together, but at this point he's definitely run out of things to like drop, just because he's now got only 8 Mons, which can be bad for him, simply because, again, he's run into the issue of having kind of a middling speed team, with a Cobalion, which even on its own isn't actually that fast. That being said, he's definitely got more Volt Turn options. Celebi is a really, really good wall. It's access to Stealth Rocks, Leech Seed, Calm Mind, Swords Dance, Baton Pass, all these really, really good coverage moves.
Sucker Punch, Healing Wish, Recover, like it's, U-turn if you want to, like...
It's a good Mon, but he sacrificed a lot, but then again, what he did drop didn't actually help his team a huge amount.
You say he sacrificed a lot. One of those is Go-Go.
I mean, he took Kadabra and Go-Go and stuck them together and got something that was actually better than both of them combined. I'm just missing out. Toxicroak's bad on this team just because he already had a Nidoqueen and he already had a good fighting type in Cobalion, but at the same time,
didn't really need the water immunity. All that much.
What I am missing is the fact that he's losing out on priority, which is something that I hopefully can see him do something about, but at this point he doesn't have the points.
Besides special vacuum wave Toxicroak, he traded non-stab Sucker Punch for non-stab Sucker Punch. Like, he didn't really lose anything there.
Yeah.
On that regard. I agree, it is financially like a big drop for Celebi, and I was talking to people about this on Twitter. Like, I personally really like Celebi. It's one of my favorite Mons, and I think it's very good, like, in the right hands. But it's a problematic Mon just solely for the fact that it's quad weak to U-turn, and like, find me a team that doesn't U-turn, like.
Yeah.
But in the right hands, you can play around that. With the right team, you can play around that. I'm not sure this is the right team to play around that. I would love for him to prove me wrong, because more good Celebi plays, the better. Like, literally, historically, across every league I've ever watched, the only thing we have is Gubs in Season 2 of the GBA. So it's like, a lot of people don't even remember that. It's very easy to kind of dump on Celebi as a good Mon. But, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think... at the very least, Go-Go and Kadabra were not going to do anything for him. They weren't. Like,
and I don't really think that Toxicroak was really going to do anything for him either.
Like, there may be that 1 in 10 week where Toxicroak shined, and maybe if we looked at the matchups like all the way through, you could pick one, but by then teams are going to change and evolve anyways.
Exactly.
So holding on to it's probably not necessarily the best play. So yeah, I'm for this regardless of its ease of use, because I don't think it's going to be easy for him to use. I really think he's going to have to play a much tighter game than a lot of other people if he wants to use Celebi every week. But it's doable.
At this point, he consolidated 2 Mons into one better one, and then dropped something that he probably wasn't really ever going to use. The problem now is that he has a shallow pool of... I mean, they're all really good Mons by themselves, but he's got very little option now, and he isn't sitting on a lot of cash to kind of expand what he has. So that's kind of what's making me nervous here. Again,
I don't know, for me,
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
Okay. At this point in time, Celebi is good because you got Fire, Water, Grass, you got Steel, Fairy, Dragon, and then you got a really, really good Mega in Mega Sableye, as well as a really good Mon in Nidoqueen. The team itself is, I feel like, is a lot more solid now because you can actually think of bringing, hey, I can actually bring this Grass type as opposed to having a Go-Goat. Or, hey, I can actually bring kind of a bulky Psychic type as opposed to a Kadabra. I think it's a good pickup. I feel like Travisy's gonna have some issues some weeks just because he's got such a shallow pool of Mons.
It's leaner and therefore on paper technically more efficient looking, but it's problematic. He has a problematic team.
Yes.
Like he's got 2 nukes. And he's got bulky switch-ins, but Togekiss and Celebi are the only 2 with reliable fast recovery. Mega Sableye has slow recovery.
Yeah.
And Lantern's got slow recovery. So I mean, it's gonna be a problem because it's a lean team with not the best switch-ins for the world for 2 fairly good nukes,
Yeah.
Like he can force some good switch outs. If he plays it right, he can do some cheeky plays and get some good initiative between Cobalion and Darmanitan and even Celebi with Volt Turn shenanigans and stuff like that. But it's a lean team. He's going to have to play really, really well, and that's the hitch.
He has the pieces. We just need to see what he's going to do with it. I mean, like you were saying, he's got 2 pick out the box nukes in Kyurem and Darmanitan, but he also has other nukes when you think about it. Like Nasty Plot Togekiss could always be an option. SD Cobalion could always be an option. Calm Mind Celebi could always be an option. Even Calm Mind Sableye, that could be a real hindrance to people's teams. But it's going to rely on how can I maneuver myself into this position where if I click Calm Mind twice, the game is mine. Or how can I get everything whittled to the range where I click Flare Blitz 4 times and win, or Ice Beam 4 times and win. It's that kind of mentality that Travesty is going to be having to work with, which is very difficult.
He also pretty much has to bring Togekiss to defog every single week now.
Yeah.
So that's also going to limit viability options and stuff like that.
I mean, he was gonna have to bring it anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. For all the things he could have dropped, perhaps he could have found something better than Go-Goat, but not quite Celebi, and gotten something in the middle that would also defog or spin or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, he still has the 2 mil left to work with for next transaction period.
Right, but at this point, he would have to drop a high price item, and he really doesn't have one. I think everything he has short of Mega Sableye is under 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, yeah, I think Darmanitan's maybe the highest item he has.
Let me double check. You're correct. I don't know how much it is.
I believe Darmanitan was 13, but
how much is Claydol worth?
No, Claydol isn't worth anything.
I'm just saying.
It's not worth anything.
It's an option. It's an option.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a bad option.
It's an option.
It's a ground type.
Darmanitan was 14, but now on the pricing sheet it says 13.5, so I guess the price has changed.
Yeah. So he would have to drop something huge to get a higher tier, which in fairness, he could get Defog Latios if he wants to drop something expensive. That's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it's he's put himself into a very tight corner where he's gonna have to play really, really stupidly well.
I mean, yeah, he went quality over quantity,
But even then, he went quality over quantity 2 weeks in, dropping stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't go lean draft first. He went, bulk draft first, and then took stuff back for a discount. So he lost money on this. It's a problem.
Yep.
But yeah, so I don't know. In theory, I want it to be good. We'll see. It could be. It very well could be. But
It looks like a dangerous team to me, but
it's very dangerous.
Because I think, Celebi baton passing, it has so many different setup moves that it has, and it has so many good recipients to throw those to, that it could be throwing that at least is pretty freaking dangerous to me, in my opinion. But,
Exactly.
Yep.
But I don't know if you can really bank on doing that every week.
And one Scarf powerful U-turner, like, kind of, makes that a massive problem. Because it's like, oh, well, Celebi's got to take this quad effective hit before it can pass. And
You do the bug resist berry just so you can get a baton pass off.
yeah, every week. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Not every week. I mean, if you whip it out once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But
But yeah, that is everything. That is the whole of Division 2's Week 2 thingy what's it guys with the stuff, transfers.
we did it. We did it in one take without any need to splice things together.
There has been no editing whatsoever. This has just been one solid recording.
Potato jackets.
Jacket potatoes, they're actually really good.
They're all wrong anyways.
Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you to Adam and Chris who joined me. What the? I couldn't think of the word. I hate you guys. Shut up, Dad. All right, that's it. We're done. We're done. We're done.
Thanks for having us. Stay classy, San Diego.
God fucking damn it.
Thanks for joining and doing the things, and then they were here. And
Glad to join you, Ethan.
Join me, Chris.
I'm really
Join me,
happy.
Chris. We can create havoc.
Really happy. to join you.
So, Chris, what are your thoughts on jacket potatoes?
Look, they're baked potatoes, and it's silly. It's silly. Like, jacket potatoes is what you would call it if you were
An idiot?
if you were selling baked potatoes at like a TGI Friday. That's what that is. Am I wrong?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Um,
That's what you'd call it if you were at a family. If you were at Applebee's, and you were like, look, Billy's, you can get chicken fingers and a jacket potato. Like, that's what you do.
I'm just really hungry for potatoes now.
I actually have some French fries waiting for me.
Hey.
Hey! Oh, I should just click the stop button, shouldn't I?
Or
No, just leave all of this in.
This is gonna be part of the blooper reel, I guess. This blooper reel is gonna be fucking amazing.
It's fucking...
I mean, the intro to this video is fucking amazing. So.
The intro and the outro.
Oh, God, you were wonderful, Ethan. I love you.
I'm so awkward, and I'm not even trying to be awkward. That's the worst part, too. Oh God, I'm like fucking Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Except it's with my face.
I really do like the idea that people thought that Adam and I were gonna come be serious professionals. It's like, no, that's not.
I mean, you're serious enough that you actually care enough to say like, all right, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, but you can also have fun with it. We're playing fucking Pokemon.
I don't take this children's game seriously enough.
I mean,
What is wrong with Chris?
you got them fucking tryhards on Showdown. Allowed to be number one.
I mean, I did refrain from mentioning Hustle Togekiss, so, you know.
Hustle Focus Punch. There we go.
You could have done it. Travis, you could do it.
Look at you with your 3-0 and plus 9 points.
Yay! Fucking RTK's team is just... Actually, no, it's not just... It's not his team. It's the combination of Frostlass and Excadrill that is just shitting on my life that I'm go.
I told you, man. You were like, oh, he's not that good. And I'm like, no.
No. His team is not that good. I have things for literally everything except for those two things.
But that's the thing. Look at, like, everyone he plays. There's two things that work together that fuck up everything on someone's team. Like, most teams have one thing that shit on people. He has, like, combos.
Combo.